The galaxy is in turmoil. Across the stars, whispers of a new terror spread like wildfire. Deadly ancient predators thought to be confined to the most remote and dangerous worlds have begun to surface in greater numbers. These beasts are far more lethal than any known creature in the galaxy, with unparalleled strength, speed, and savagery. Some are thought to be capable of obliterating entire fleets with a single strike, while others are said to possess abilities that defy comprehension. Their existence is a constant, ever-present nightmare for all who encounter them. Some species have formed coalitions to combat these creatures, but nothing seems to work. The creatures, referred to by many as Class 13 beasts, are indomitable, thriving in the harshest environments known to science. The galaxy's most powerful factions are in an uproar. The Council of the United Species, a neutral diplomatic body that governs interstellar relations, holds an emergency summit to address the crisis. Leaders from every corner of the galaxy gather in the massive, secure meeting chambers aboard the Nexus station, a neutral space platform that has hosted many such high-stakes conferences in the past. The mood is tense, filled with dread. Despite their technological might and military prowess, the galactic powers are at the mercy of these monsters. Some alien races, who have long prided themselves on their superior strength, now find themselves vulnerable and helpless in the face of the threat. Every new encounter with the beasts brings with it losses, and with each loss, more species question their very survival. As the Council debates possible solutions, a delegation from Earth, an unexpected but increasingly influential player in galactic politics, arrives. The human delegation is led by Captain Marlowe, a seasoned military officer with years of experience in both diplomacy and warfare. The humans are largely unknown in the galactic political scene, having only recently become a part of the greater galactic community. Despite their relatively new presence, their reputation has been growing, particularly in the area of military strategy, and their unusual affinity for dangerous, untamable creatures. At first, the human delegation's appearance does little to quell the tension in the room. Many species, especially the older and more established ones, view humans with suspicion and skepticism. The humans are still considered an untested species by many, yet their sudden rise to prominence has turned heads. Despite their inexperience on the galactic stage, humans have a reputation for persistence and cunning, two qualities that have served them well in their own world's history. The Council members regard them warily, unsure of what to make of the newcomers. However, the humans have come not to contribute to the discussions, but to demonstrate something extraordinary. In the heart of the Council chamber, Captain Marlowe steps forward with an air of confidence that commands attention. She presents a device to the Council, and as the machine hums to life, a cage is revealed. Inside the cage is a creature that immediately captures the attention of every individual in the room. It is one of the apex predators, a Class 13 beast. Its sleek black scales gleaming, its eyes glowing with an unsettling intelligence. It stands at over 10 feet tall, with claws that could easily tear through metal. Its muscular frame radiates raw power. For a moment, the room falls silent as every species present reacts to the sight. The mere presence of the beast strikes terror into the hearts of many. It is everything the galaxy has been running from, a living nightmare. The creature's very existence represents the destruction of worlds, the annihilation of entire fleets. Yet, as the room watches in stunned silence, something incredible happens. Captain Marlowe reaches into the cage and calls the beast by name. The creature, once a symbol of unimaginable terror, reacts with an almost uncanny obedience. It sits, tail curling beneath its body, and nuzzles Marlowe's hand, as though it were a domesticated animal. It purrs, a low, rumbling sound that reverberates through the room. The Council members are speechless. How could this be? How could a creature so deadly, so terrifying, be tamed? Marlowe calmly explains, her voice steady, that this predator, like many others, is one of Earth's so-called pets. Humans have tamed and domesticated these creatures not through brute force, but through an understanding of their behavior, their biology, and their psychology. The humans have learned to bond with these beasts, building a relationship of trust that no other species has managed to replicate. The revelation shakes the council to its core. In a galaxy where strength is often equated with domination, where the strongest are the most feared, the idea that humanity has found a way to live alongside such monstrous creatures, let alone tame them, presents a terrifying new paradigm. Humans, once thought to be mere newcomers in the galaxy, now stand as a powerful force. Not because of their technology, but because of their understanding of the very beasts that have haunted the galaxy's nightmares. For the first time, it becomes clear that humanity has an advantage, one that the galaxy's oldest and most powerful species cannot ignore. As the first shock of the human demonstration begins to settle, the galaxy's most advanced species are left grappling with one fundamental question: how are humans able to tame these deadly Class 13 beasts? The creatures are known across the stars for their immense strength and ferocity, and no species has ever been able to even approach them without facing certain death. Yet, humans have not only survived their encounters with these monsters, they have mastered them. This revelation sparks intense curiosity and, in some corners, deep suspicion. How could a species so young in galactic terms and so seemingly fragile compared to other advanced species hold dominion over these creatures? In the days following the Council's emergency summit, a wave of interest grows across the galaxy. Speculative discussions, academic papers, and private inquiries flood the diplomatic channels. An undercurrent of jealousy and fear spreads among the more established species who once thought themselves the undisputed rulers of the galaxy. To them, humanity's success in taming these apex predators challenges everything they knew about strength and dominance. The Zelan, a particularly powerful and secretive species known for their military prowess, immediately begins a deep investigation into the mystery of humanity's control over the Class 13 beasts. The Zelan have long considered themselves the pinnacle of evolutionary strength, possessing superior technology and an indomitable warrior culture. But the humans, it seems, have done something no one thought possible. They have turned the ultimate predators into household companions. The Zelan government demands answers, commissioning their brightest minds to understand this unprecedented ability. Meanwhile, Professor Velithar, a well-known alien scholar from the Quirok species, who had been a vocal skeptic of humanity's potential, takes up the challenge. Velithar is notorious for his arrogance, believing that no species could ever surpass the Quirok in intellect or prowess. After attending the human demonstration, he makes it his mission to decode the process by which humans have tamed the beasts. He puts forward a hypothesis that humanity has somehow genetically modified the creatures, or possibly used an unknown technology to control them. To the Quirok, the concept of empathy as the key to this success is unthinkable, an inferior approach that simply cannot produce results when dealing with such dangerous creatures. Despite Velithar's dismissal of empathy as a solution, a select group of alien researchers begins to explore an alternative theory. Perhaps the key lies in the human capacity for adaptability. Unlike other species whose interactions with the beasts are rooted in aggression and dominance, humans have developed an intrinsic ability to understand and bond with almost every creature they encounter. The initial observations suggest that the humans' success isn't tied to brute strength or advanced weaponry, but to their ability to live alongside, learn from, and earn the trust of the predators. As Velithar and others push forward with their studies, Dr. Zara Kaur, a human xenobiologist and expert in animal behavior, plays a pivotal role in the research. Dr. Kaur's work is pivotal in revealing the depth of human understanding when it comes to their bond with these creatures. She explains that humans see the beasts not as mere pets or tools, but as partners. Humans have evolved with a unique set of survival instincts that allow them to relate to and communicate with the most dangerous animals on their homeworlds. The key, Kaur insists, is not a matter of subjugation but of mutual respect and understanding. Humans study their animals, learning their cues, their emotions, and their patterns in ways no other species has ever attempted. The relationship is reciprocal. What the humans provide in care and attention, the beasts return in loyalty and protection. This theory begins to gather support, particularly among the more progressive species who see the value in cooperation rather than control. As more evidence comes to light, a startling realization emerges. The Class 13 beasts are not merely violent killing machines, but highly intelligent, socially complex creatures. They form hierarchies within their own species, and each creature has the potential to bond with a human if treated with the right balance of authority and trust. Despite the growing body of evidence, skepticism remains high. The Zholar, an aggressive, reptilian species, reject the notion outright. Their leaders insist that no creature could ever willingly. As the galaxy grapples with the implications of humanity's ability to tame the deadliest creatures in existence, the atmosphere of awe and fear quickly evolves into something more dangerous: envy. What was initially seen as an extraordinary but isolated achievement is now recognized as a potential turning point in the balance of power across the galaxy. The discovery that humans have learned to coexist with the galaxy's most feared predators brings about a seismic shift in how they are viewed by other species, especially the older, more established powers, who feel threatened by the idea that a relatively young species could surpass them in such an unimaginable way. The Xilan, a proud and warrior-driven species, are the first to act on this envy. For centuries, they have been considered the most formidable species in terms of military strategy and physical might. Their empire spans vast portions of the galaxy, and their soldiers are known for their discipline and ruthlessness in battle. The Xilan believe in strength above all else, and their entire culture revolves around the notion that power must be earned through combat and dominance. The idea that humans, with their comparatively weaker physicality, have somehow gained control over creatures they cannot even begin to fight shakes the very foundation of Xilan ideology. Enraged by the notion that a species so seemingly weak could subdue the galaxy's most terrifying beasts, the Xilan military leadership begins to plot. They cannot accept the idea that they might be inferior to humanity in this regard, and they see the taming of these predators as a challenge to their own superiority. At first, they begin to conduct covert operations to learn the secrets of humanity's control over the creatures. They study every bit of data from the human demonstrations, scrutinizing Captain Marlowe's interactions with the beasts, and attempting to reverse engineer the human methods. Yet, despite their advanced technology and vast knowledge, the Xilan struggle to even come close to understanding the complex bond between human and predator. After several failed attempts to replicate the success, the Xilan decide that the only way to regain their pride is to prove that human success is either a fluke or based on some form of manipulation. Their military leaders, led by General Vorkon, decide to take matters into their own hands. They plan a daring operation to capture one of the apex predators, hoping to either control it or force humanity to reveal their true methods. They believe that once they have one of the creatures in their possession, they can either dominate it or use it as a weapon against humanity's growing influence. Meanwhile, other species are quietly envious of humanity's newfound power as well. The Valkyrie, a highly intellectual and secretive species, see the taming of the Class 13 beasts as a matter of potential scientific revolution. They are fascinated by the humans' ability to bond with such dangerous animals, seeing the feat not just as a military advantage, but as a new frontier in biological and psychological studies. The Valkyrie, who have long prided themselves on their intellectual superiority, feel threatened by the idea that humanity's empathy-based method of domestication could outperform their own scientific knowledge. The Valkyrie decide to extend an offer to humanity, a collaboration to study the beasts and possibly replicate their success. But their offer is not entirely altruistic. Behind the formalities of the proposal, there is an underlying intent to gain access to the human knowledge and methods for their own gain, to ensure that the Valkyrie are not left behind in the race to control these apex predators. They are not content to simply admire humanity's ability. They want to claim the same power for themselves. At the same time, the Zholar, a reptilian species known for their aggressive nature and territorial instincts, are the most vocal in their condemnation of humanity's success. The Zholar view the taming of such powerful creatures as an affront to their way of life, which is based on strength, survival of the fittest, and dominance through sheer power. For them, the idea that humans have taken control of what should be nature's uncontrollable forces is deeply unsettling. They view it as unnatural, almost dishonorable, and they begin lobbying the Galactic Council for an official ban on humanity's use of Class 13 beasts. The Zolar push for the creation of new regulations that would limit the number of Class 13 beasts any species could domesticate or control. Their argument is simple. If the humans can tame these beasts, others might follow suit, turning the galaxy's most dangerous predators into tools of war. They suggest that humans should be prohibited from interacting with these creatures unless they can demonstrate a full understanding of the biological risks involved, which they argue humanity has not done. As the tensions rise, humanity remains steadfast in its position. Captain Marlowe delivers a passionate speech during another summit, asserting that the taming of these creatures is not about power or conquest, but about understanding and coexistence. She explains that the beasts once feared and misunderstood are now seen as valuable companions, creatures that can protect and nurture, not just destroy. She appeals to the council members' better judgment, urging them to see humanity's actions as a force for peace rather than a weapon of war. But even as Marlowe speaks, the envy and resentment of the galaxy's established species are reaching a boiling point. The Zealand begin their attack, hoping to prove humanity's dominance is a fluke and to reclaim their status as the galaxy's undisputed apex species. However, they underestimate the bond between humans and their beasts, an advantage that cannot be easily replicated or stolen. The battle that unfolds will test the true strength of humanity's newfound place in the galaxy, as other species face the reality that humanity has something they cannot easily obtain: the loyalty of the deadliest creatures in existence. The tensions in the galaxy escalate to a boiling point as the envy and fear of humanity's control over the Class 13 beast drive various factions into a deadly confrontation. The Zealand, the most vocal of the dissenting species, have made their move, launching a covert operation to capture and subdue one of the beasts, in hopes of proving that humanity's success is either based on manipulation or a simple stroke of luck. They intend to use the captured predator as both a weapon and a symbol of their superiority. However, they vastly underestimate humanity's bond with the creatures, and the ensuing conflict ignites a dangerous chain of events that will forever change the power dynamics in the galaxy. The Zealand strike first, infiltrating human-controlled space with the full might of their fleet. Their plan is simple but ruthless: breach Earth's defenses, capture a Class 13 beast, and dismantle humanity's position of power before it becomes entrenched. The human military, led by Captain Marlowe, and her elite team is not caught off guard. They have been anticipating this move and are prepared to defend their planet and their animals at all costs. The attack begins as a series of coordinated strikes against key military and research installations. The Zealand believe their technological superiority and overwhelming firepower will be enough to subdue humanity and its beasts. However, they quickly learn the truth of their miscalculation. The humans do not rely solely on technology and military might. They rely on their deep understanding of the beasts and their ability to communicate with them. The Zealand's attempts to capture a beast are met with fierce resistance as the creatures, sensing the intruder's hostile intentions, fight back with a savagery that terrifies even the Xylan warriors. In a battle that rages across the plains of a secluded Earth reserve, where the humans have housed and trained several of the Class 13 beasts, the predators fight not just for survival, but to protect the humans they've bonded with. The Xylan's forces, well-armed and well-trained, are overwhelmed by the coordinated assault of the beasts. The creatures, once considered uncontrollable and unstoppable, now fight as if they have an instinctive bond with the humans, fiercely protective of them, defending them against the very forces that seek to dominate them. The Zealand are forced into retreat, their forces scattered and decimated. The battle serves as a powerful message to the rest of the galaxy. Humanity's connection with these beasts is no fluke. It is a bond built on trust, mutual respect, and a deep understanding of the creature's nature. The Zealand, who once believed that might makes right, have been forced to acknowledge a truth that challenges everything they've ever known. Empathy and communication with these predators is far more potent than brute force. The victory, however, is bittersweet. The conflict has only intensified the fear and envy of other species who see humanity's success as a direct threat to their own power and control. In the aftermath of the battle, the Valkyrie, a highly intellectual species, begin to publicly support humanity's methods, but not out of genuine admiration. Instead, they view the human success as an opportunity to further their own scientific ambitions. The Valkyrie propose a joint research initiative with humanity, hoping to gain access to the secret of taming the beasts for their own use. But humanity is wary of their intentions. While the Valkyrie are highly regarded for their intellect, their history of exploitation and manipulation makes them an unreliable ally. Captain Marlowe, though open to collaboration, is cautious in her dealings with the Valkyrie, fully aware of the potential for them to turn humanity's methods into weapons of mass control. Meanwhile, the Zolar, a reptilian species known for their military aggression, continue to oppose humanity's control over the Class 13 beasts. The Zolar see the beasts as tools to be conquered and dominated, and they press the Galactic Council to impose heavy sanctions on humanity's use of them. The Zolar argue that allowing humans to control such powerful creatures poses a grave risk to the balance of power in the galaxy. They claim that humanity's bond with the Class 13 beasts is an unnatural manipulation, and that the creatures should be eradicated before they are used as weapons. As the political pressure mounts, the Galactic Council convenes a special session to address the growing conflict. The stakes are higher than ever before, with various factions vying for control of the Class 13 beasts or seeking to outlaw their domestication altogether. The Council is divided, with some species, like the Valkyrie, seeking to take advantage of humanity's success for their own scientific gain, while others, like the Zolar and Zelan, continue to argue for the complete eradication of the beasts. In Nikur, a tense and volatile council session, Captain Marlowe delivers a powerful speech, emphasizing the importance of cooperation, mutual respect, and the shared responsibility of all species to protect the galaxy from the dangers of unchecked power. She pleads for understanding, urging the Council to see the bond between humanity and the Class 13 beasts not as a weapon to be feared, but as a symbol of what can be achieved through empathy and collaboration. Despite her impassioned plea, the political struggle continues to intensify, and humanity finds itself at a crossroads. The taming of the Class 13 beasts has not only made them a target for rival species, but also a beacon of hope for others. The outcome of this struggle will determine not only the fate of the beasts, but also the future of intergalactic relations. Humanity's role in the galaxy is now clearer than ever. They are not just a species to be reckoned with. They are a force capable of reshaping the galaxy's very understanding of power and what it means to truly conquer. As the war for control of the Class 13 beasts escalates, the galaxy finds itself at a tipping point. Humanity's ability to tame the most fearsome predators in existence has become a symbol of both power and controversy. The previous conflicts and political struggles have only intensified the desire of rival species to either exploit or eradicate humanity's remarkable bond with these creatures. But in the midst of growing hostilities, humanity faces a new challenge, a test of their values, their commitment to peace, and their ability to uphold the fragile alliances that have formed around them. In the wake of the Zelan's failed attempt to capture a Class 13 beast and the subsequent battles, Captain Marlowe and her allies realize that humanity's true strength lies not in the control of the beasts themselves, but in the message they represent: unity, empathy, and understanding. Yet, as various factions continue to covet the Class 13 beasts, it becomes clear that the taming of these creatures will have broader implications for intergalactic diplomacy. The Valkyrie, who have been watching humanity's rise with a mixture of intrigue and ambition, propose an unprecedented solution to the conflict: a galaxy-wide competition to prove which species can bond with the Class 13 beasts the most effectively. The Valkyrie, driven by their scientific curiosity, believe that if every species can demonstrate its ability to understand and bond with these creatures, it would not only quell the growing tensions, but also offer a new path for cooperation across the galaxy. They argue that the taming of these beasts could lead to groundbreaking advancements in interspecies relationships, bioengineering, and cooperative defense strategies. While the Valkyrie's proposal is framed as a peaceful resolution, it also serves a more strategic purpose. If the competition goes forward, the Valkyrie hope to secure access to the secret behind humanity's success, using it to advance their own research and bolster their standing among the galaxy's intellectual elite. As a species known for its academic achievements, the Valkyrie are determined not to be outdone by a species they consider beneath them in terms of sophistication. If humanity's ability to bond with the Class 13 beasts is a result of some hidden technology or biological advantage, the Valkyrie aim to uncover it. For Captain Marlowe and her team, the proposal is a double-edged sword. While they recognize the potential for the competition to create a platform for cooperation, they also fear that the Valkyrie's true intentions are less noble. Humanity's relationship with the Class 13 beasts was never meant to be a tool for exploitation. Marlowe is torn between supporting the idea of peaceful resolution and protecting the integrity of what humanity has built. To enter the competition would mean sharing the secret of their success with species that may not honor it in the same way, potentially turning the creatures into weapons of war rather than partners. As the debate unfolds, the Zolar continue to oppose the notion of allowing any species to bond with the Class 13 beasts. Their fear and jealousy are rooted in their belief that humanity's success threatens their own power, and their vision of the galaxy as a place where only the strongest rule. The Zolar push for a complete ban on the use of the beasts by all species, insisting that allowing them to be tamed could upset the natural order. They argue that the beasts should remain uncontrollable, to be feared and respected as forces of nature, not pets or allies. The Zolar lobby fiercely within the Galactic Council, calling for stringent sanctions on humanity's use of the creatures. Despite the growing tension, humanity's supporters, including those from various young and progressive species, continue to stand by Captain Marlowe. They argue that the bond between humanity and the beasts is proof that cooperation, rather than domination, is the future of the galaxy. They envision a future where different species can work together, sharing knowledge and resources to tackle common challenges rather than perpetuating cycles of war and exploitation. As the political battle intensifies, the Galactic Council calls for a decisive vote on the issue. The galaxy's fate hangs in the balance, and the outcome of this vote will determine not just the future of the Class 13 beasts, but the very nature of galactic relations. Marlowe understands that this vote will set a precedent for future interactions between species. If humanity can convince the Council to support the peaceful use of the beasts, it could usher in a new era of cooperation. But if the Council rejects this vision, it may spark an all-out war to control or destroy the creatures and potentially destabilize the galaxy. Amidst this, an unexpected event unfolds. The Class 13 beasts themselves seem to have an opinion on the matter. For the first time, the creatures are seen engaging in a coordinated display of solidarity with humanity. In a dramatic scene, a pack of the beasts approaches the council chamber in a display of non-aggression, as if to convey their willingness to live in peace with the galaxy's species. The sight of these terrifying yet awe-inspiring creatures, walking calmly among the representatives, sends shockwaves through the council. It is a silent, yet powerful statement, one that shows the beasts are not merely tools of war but sentient beings capable of understanding their place in the galaxy. This unprecedented act forces the council to reconsider their stance. As the vote approaches, the galaxy's leaders must choose whether they will embrace the possibility of a peaceful, cooperative future, or whether they will continue down the path of fear and domination. For humanity, this moment is a defining one. The question of whether they will control the Class 13 beasts or share in a new, more cooperative future will shape the destiny of the galaxy. Will the taming of the beasts lead to war, or will it forge an era of unity and understanding across the stars? The decision lies in the hands of the galaxy's leaders, and the next move could alter the course of history forever. The galaxy is at a crossroads, and the final part of the saga marks a pivotal moment in the unfolding narrative of humanity's relationship with the Class 13 beasts. The culmination of political maneuvering, military conflict, and growing envy across the galaxy now leads to a decisive resolution, one that will determine whether humanity's connection to the beasts will be a source of uniting the galaxy or driving it into irreversible chaos. As the Galactic Council convenes for the final vote, the outcome rests not only on the decisions of political leaders, but on the remarkable bond between humanity and the apex predators. The Zelan and the Zolar continue to push for the eradication of humanity's influence over the Class 13 beasts, believing that the creatures must be either controlled by force or left to roam freely as untamable forces of nature. The Valkyrie, with their own ambitions to exploit the beasts for scientific gain, advocate for a galaxy-wide research initiative to study the creatures, but with strict controls over who can bond with them. They present the competition, the taming, trials as a peaceful way to share humanity's success in controlling the beasts, but with the underlying goal of gaining access to the methods themselves. Captain Marlowe, humanity's staunchest advocate, stands before the Galactic Council for the final time, ready to make one last appeal. Her speech, resonating with conviction and hope, draws on the very principles humanity has upheld throughout the conflict: cooperation, mutual respect, and the understanding that the Class 13 beasts are not tools to be exploited but partners in a new vision for the galaxy. Marlowe insists that the galaxy's future does not have to be one dominated by fear, jealousy, and rivalry. Instead, she urges the Council to see this moment as an opportunity for unity, a chance for the galaxy's species to come together in a shared effort to protect the natural wonders of the universe and foster a future built on empathy and collaboration. At the same time, the Class 13 beasts themselves, who have remained largely passive throughout the political turmoil, continue to make their presence felt in unexpected ways. A coordinated display of strength and solidarity from the beasts sends a clear message to the Council. These creatures are not mindless weapons of war, but sentient beings capable of understanding and even choosing their allies. Their actions, while not violent, are undeniably powerful, an unspoken declaration of their allegiance to the humans who have cared for them, proving that the bond between them is real and profound. As the Council session progresses, the most unexpected moment arrives. The Zolar, after days of internal debate, announce a surprising shift in their stance. Although they continue to believe in the supremacy of strength and dominance, they are willing to admit that humanity's control of the Class 13 beasts has proven something they had long denied: an alternative form of power, one based not on brute force but on trust and mutual respect. The Zolar, acknowledging that they cannot stop the tide of change, decide to support the vote for peaceful coexistence. They see this as an opportunity to preserve their own position in the galaxy, while adapting to a changing world. This pivotal turn of events causes a ripple effect throughout the galaxy. The Zelan, whose arrogance and militaristic nature have long shaped their worldview, are the next to waver. After losing their previous battles and seeing the resolve of humanity and their allies, they too begin to question their own methods. Realizing they cannot defeat humanity through sheer force, the Zelan begin to see the wisdom in Marlowe's message of unity. They agree to a limited collaboration, opening the door to peace talks that were previously unthinkable. Meanwhile, the Valkyrie, whose desire to control and study the beasts for their own benefit remains unchanged, find themselves increasingly isolated. While they still press for research initiatives and further scientific collaboration, they are forced to acknowledge that their attempts to co-opt humanity's success for their own gain have failed. The competition they once saw as a way to gain access to humanity's methods is no longer a viable path forward. Instead, they propose a compromise, a joint effort to preserve the Class 13 beasts as a shared resource for all species, under the guidance of a cooperative governing body that would manage their care and protection. While not ideal for all parties, it's a concession that opens the door to peace. With the Zolar, Zelan, and Valkyrie now at the table, the Galactic Council is on the verge of approving the proposal. As the vote is cast, the eyes of the galaxy's citizens are upon them. The decision they make will either shape a new era of cooperation or lead to further conflict. But in a rare moment of solidarity, the council members vote overwhelmingly in favor of a peaceful, cooperative future. The Class 13 beasts, once seen as instruments of fear and destruction, are now recognized as living beings with whom humanity has formed a unique and mutually beneficial bond. The final resolution of the conflict results in the creation of the Taming Accord, an agreement that ensures the Class 13 beasts are protected and cared for by a united effort from all species. The Accord establishes a universal understanding that these creatures are not to be used as weapons or tools of war, but as partners in the effort to safeguard the galaxy's natural balance and foster peaceful coexistence among species. This historic moment signals the dawn of a new era in galactic relations, one where understanding, compassion, and cooperation take precedence over fear, domination, and rivalry. Captain Marlowe, having successfully navigated humanity through the most dangerous political crisis in history, reflects on the outcome. The battles fought, the alliances forged, and the lessons learned all point to one undeniable truth. Humanity's greatest strength is not in their ability to control the Class 13 beasts, but in their capacity to unite and inspire others to join them in building a peaceful, interconnected galaxy. In the end, it is not humanity's dominance over the beasts that defines their legacy, but the legacy of unity they have created, one that will shape the galaxy for generations to come. The taming of the beasts, once seen as an unimaginable achievement, has become the symbol of a new beginning, a brighter future for all species in the galaxy.